Hello, Patreon class and Sending Ravens viewers, and thanks to all the new subscribers. Welcome, everybody. These are the major arcanas that we have left to discuss. That's to my tarot class. And I think I got that right. Yeah, so we just got up one at a time, and we're going to start with the Devil. Yeah. So I think a few people got this card as their archetype. And the Devil's kind of fun. I mean, as an archetype, it can be a really fun card. And I know that sounds crazy, but we're reading these in the most positive light. That was the intention. And we asked about archetypes. And archetypes, it hasn't been aspected. So we don't know, is that a good archetype? Is it bad? So we're going to assume this is positive. Okay, because if you're in my class, you must be awesome, right? That's what I say. So the Devil archetype is someone who's a bit bedeviled by the whole situation. What I mean by that is tarot might scare them. They might be afraid of their intuition, afraid of their instincts, afraid of how powerful they are, afraid of their own power. Right? So there could be a little bit of fear around power, a little bit of maybe in a past life, they might have used their energies in a negative way. So this lifetime, they're a little bit scared to go the route of tarot or esoteric study, as it might bring up old sort of powers that they don't want to be, associated with this lifetime. And anybody who's dabbled in the esoteric and intuitive spiritual things in past lives, they could have dabbled on both sides. I mean, it could be for the bad of humanity or people around them, or for the good, or both. I know for sure I've been on both sides of that fence in other lifetimes. So in order to be an evolved soul, you would have had to dabble and try everything to know for sure it's not a good idea. To know you shouldn't put spells on people for negative reasons, or to make them do things or covet things, to sort of force your will on others. That's absolutely what they call dark magic or negativity or whatever. Of course, we know that, but it took us trying it to know. Okay, so in other lifetimes, you've probably tried it. So don't be scared of yourself, right? This card asks you not to be afraid of yourself. Don't be afraid of your power. Okay, go again with good intentions and try using it in the positive. So the card might need a bit of sense of humor if you get it as an archetype. You might need some, you might need to be encouraged a little bit, or cut yourself a little break, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky. Now, if it comes up in someone's reading and it's badly aspected, okay, or it badly aspects other cards, right? When the Devil shows up, okay, it is often cause for concern. Not necessarily as an archetype, because the other ways it could be archetypal are someone who's incredibly wealthy, who's incredibly privileged, who's incredibly, has a lot of power or clout. And the temptation there with the card is to use your power for negative, right? So it's like Meghan, for instance, Meghan Markle. So she gets involved with the royals, works her way into, Harry's life, is his wife now, and proceeds to, literally lord that over staff and, really use and abuse that little bit of power that she got through a marriage. Okay, that's a big reason why a lot of people don't like her. She instantly took what, came through a marriage and created, a lot of negativity with it. She was really nasty with all the staff, apparently. Just her thirst for power and to achieve, her goals at all cost. That is all the Devil archetype. And every single time the Devil comes up when we do a reading on Meghan and Harry, almost every time the Devil comes up when we do that on the Tarot by Janine channel. So yeah, this archetype is her for sure. So it could be very negative, self-centered, abusing your power, enslaving others. You see how these two they look enslaved unto this energy. Okay, so enslaving others, I mean, narcissists are brilliant for that, right? And as soon as you're not going to be a slave to their, vision of what they need, you're useless to them, right? So as soon as Harry's not her slave anymore, which I believe has already happened, she'll drop him like a hot potato. But that is just, my interpretation. But this card does come up almost every reading, and as well with other readers. When it comes to Megan, she gets that card. So someone who abuses power, someone who abuses their natural right to things. So they might have been born into something, but now they're abusing it instead of using it for good. And sometimes if this devil is well aspected, it could just be a really powerful, worldly, incredibly sexual person. Because Pan, the trickster from the Greek myths, and this guy kind of looks like Pan, right? He's that goat shape, okay, is incredibly sexual, right? Pan, the goat god, okay, had many, phallic, he had many penises, and he was known to rape and pillage, right? And it entertain many women at once, take virgins and treat them to their first sexual experiences, things like that. So it can be about hedonism and overuse of, so sexuality in this case, abuse of hoarding, abuse of not just power, but monies, using your monies for evil, using your monies for hedonistic practices, practicing dark ritual-like practices that are using others, climbing over others to get what you want. So anything all the way to as dark as, pedophiles and horrible lowlifes like, that abuse people for their own pleasure. Okay, so yeah, that card can be very dark, but it can also be very powerful. And if it's well aspected, you need a sense of humor because the power might scare you. That would be the best way you could read the card. Or that you're so wealthy that you have to be careful and try to find a way to use your wealth for good. So when the card comes up, and it's not talking about a person, so it's not archetypal, it literally badly aspects everything, right? We use this card to turn everything dark and swarthy, right? And sometimes if it comes up in your career house and it's not badly aspected, it seems to be well aspected. So there's a good card across from it, or the sun is across from it or something. It can literally mean you will be tempted to do something that will pay very well, but it might cost you one of your beliefs, or there's going to be a catch-22 to it, right? Like, so you might be really good at something, but you don't believe in it. Like, say you were really, really good at sales, but you're being asked to sell something you don't believe is good for people. You'll make a lot of money doing it because you're good at sales, but you're going to have to lie and go around your personal beliefs to do it. The devil can talk about things like that. So selling yourself out for money, wealth, pay, for pay, right? So it can literally be like selling your soul to the devil. So yeah, the card is tricky for sure. And if it comes up as your advice, maybe put aside your guilt and indulge a little bit in something, because if this is actually coming up as your advice, you need to get more involved, look at your dark side, look at your shadow side. Lots of people spend their entire life avoiding it, and they become repressed, and all kinds of things can happen with repression, right? So it actually can come up as advice, like get more in touch with this part of yourself, right? But often it comes up and it badly aspects things, and it tells you to be careful. If this comes up and it describes where you're headed in a relationship, you're going to, there's trouble. You're either being enslaved in it and or with someone who brings out your worst qualities. Maybe they're going to push all your boundaries sexually and financially and just, all the kinds of things you believe in will be tested if this is your future partner. So maybe stay away. It often means, stay away. The card can be a big warning. Wow. So yeah, the Devil. Quite the card. Let's go to something a little sweeter here. Let's look at Temperance. She is patience and perseverance. Notice we don't know which way that liquid is flowing. See? So it's about time and timing. The card's about universal timing. So when you encounter this card, something is going to take time, and you're going to need patience and perseverance. Even the word temperance, patience and perseverance, just cool your jets for a bit, because something isn't ready to be. And when it's ready, it'll be ready and not a second sooner, that kind of thing, right? So it's about universal timing. The spirit world knows better than you what's the perfect time for something, right? Like a lot of people are probably wondering, why did this happen just now, this world situation that's happening, that's affecting everybody in the whole world? This scary, flu situation, as I've been calling it, right? And we're not allowed to call it its name on this channel. So just so you know, I'm being careful about it for that reason. The card, if this card came up to explain it, it says the universe knows in the big picture that for some reason this is the perfect time for this to happen. And things are going to get put in place that need to be put in place for all kinds of people. Lots of people's lives will change. Some people will assume it's for the worse at first, of course, and it'll look bad. But in fact, in the big picture, and this card asks you to think about the big picture, this is universal timing, destiny. It's meant to be this way. And it might be perfect for some people. Some people are going to find, when everything's said and done and looked at from retrospect, right? When you look back and look at this time, you're going to be like, you know what? That needed to happen to me right then because whatever, fill in the blanks. Something happened that couldn't have happened otherwise. And that's what the card says. This is the universe knows what it's doing, and you need to have patience and perseverance. If the card is your archetype, you are a patient and persevering and very healing person. You bring healing light. If you're pulled it as your archetype for the tarot class, you've come into the class right on time. If it comes and it's your advice, be patient and persevering and trust the timing. Trust that the universe knows what it's doing. And if it's your challenge, maybe you're being too patient with the situation. Maybe you need to shake it up and stop being so patient. Because sometimes we're too patient. We cut too much slack. Yeah, so wherever it comes, you have to look around. Is it talking about someone's personality? If it is, that's a very evolved person. If it's badly aspected, that's a person who waits way too long and misses all their opportunities. That would be badly aspected. Usually, though, this card is really well aspected, and it well aspects other cards. So it's actually a beautiful archetype because it means you're very evolved. That's why the wings, whenever there's wings in a major arcana, it's talking about otherworldly and or a high spiritual sort of value, kind of. It adds that to the card or the person, if it's talking about a person. Yeah, so notice on the chest there, we've got that, right? So that triangle, when it's upside down, it's the feminine, and when it's right side up like it is, it's the masculine. So it's where the point is, pointing outwards, matter going outwards, the masculine, matter coming inwards, receptivity, the feminine. You put that upside down and it's a V, and it's like a yoni symbol for the womb and the feminine receptivity, and going out, it's masculine going outward into the world. Yeah, so there's all kinds of really cool things. There's that 2 flowers really prominent, and the sun rising. So even though it's hard to wait for things, the sun will rise in time, in the perfect time and not a minute before. And these 2, so this is about 2 is the number of soulmates. It can be the number of something taking time, like the Two of Pentacles. So it's all about timing. The number 2 numerologically is, well, I love the number 2. It's very spiritual. It's got a high spiritual element to it, and can talk about karma and past life situations coming around, and goes around, comes around, and something being dual. So even though it feels like this, it's really this, right? Yeah. Timing is everything. So if the card's advice, it could just mean be patient and persevering. But like I said, if it's badly aspecting, or it's saying stop doing this, it's your challenge. Maybe you're being too patient. So we're on the 15-minute mark. I'm going to cap it there, and I'm going to do another short video and try to get 3 in for that one. And we'll put them up Thursday and Friday. There'll be one up each day.